In today's video, we're going to Singapore, and we're going to discuss how much it costs. Going to Singapore is expensive, depending on the level of luxury you prefer. My personal opinion, I loved Singapore. The food is amazing. You gotta get the local foods, go to the hawker stalls, get all the delicious stuff like laksa and papaya, and yeah, just go nuts. So, of course, Singapore is an expensive city, but it doesn't have to be. Depending on your budget and your level of comfort, you can either go super budget or super luxurious. I'm more of both. I like to be on the super budget side and spend very little money, while also being on the super high-end side and staying at super fancy places, but I don't like paying that price. So what do? I use hotel points and promotions to get me the best of both worlds. Lodging. In Singapore, you can get these very high-end hotels. I think the Marina Bay Sands is like a 6-star hotel. Very expensive. Rooms are like $500 a night. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about hostels, capsule hotels, that range. If you're looking for budget accommodations for one, you can expect to pay between $15 to $25 per night. That's US dollars, which isn't that cheap. I stayed in a capsule hotel for around $15 to $25 depending on the night, and I stayed at 2 of them. I didn't really enjoy it. It's loud. There's a lot of people who don't know capsule hotel, hostel etiquette, where you just have to be quiet. You should not ever bring a plastic bag into the room because a plastic bag is very noisy. The only problem I had with the capsule hotels, even though you're paying like the lowest price possible at $15 to $20 a night, it's not that clean and it's not that quiet, so I didn't enjoy it. I ended up staying at the Intercontinental Singapore on a free night certificate with IHG that you get from the credit card. The credit card has an annual fee of $89, but the hotel itself charges $250 to $300 per night. All those prices are in US dollars. So you can get full value if you strategize accordingly. If you plan before your trip and get these points and certificates, you can have a luxurious yet budget stay. On another trip after my Intercontinental Singapore trip, I stayed at the Holiday Inn Express Serangoon, which was 20,000 IHG points per night. As you may already know, IHG has a promotion where if you stay on points, your 4th night is free. So even though 20,000 points per night is what they charge, on your 4th night that's free, so you're technically paying 15,000 points per night, or just 60,000 points for a 4-night stay. So on the low side of the spectrum, you can expect to pay $15 to $20 per night. 3-star hotels can cost around $100 a night, which are just okay for that price. And higher tier hotels can be $200 per night and higher. That's a lot of money. So definitely stay on this side on price, but use points to jump over to the 5-star level. Now, Singapore has expensive food, like really expensive food. You could be spending either $1 to $2 US dollars at a hawker stall where you're getting local food and they have that everywhere, or you could be going to cafes and restaurants where you'll spend about $15 US dollars, $10 to $15 US dollars per meal, or you could go to the little higher end where you're going to a little nicer restaurants and that's $20 to $30 per meal, or you can go to extremely high prices. It's really depends on the experience you want to get. I highly recommend the local street food just to at least try it because it's so good. It's incredibly delicious, and I'm planning another trip to Singapore in the future just to eat more of that food. For food, if you're visiting Singapore on a budget and you want to just eat local delicious food, you would probably spend about 10 to 20 bucks per day, 10 to 20 US dollars per day. If you're on the middle end, going to cafes and malls and eating there, expect to pay $50 per day in food. And if you're on the higher end, it's whatever you want it to be. Alcohol. Don't drink in Singapore. It's expensive. If you go to a bar and have a beer, that's 15 bucks. That's $15 for a beer. That's a lot of money. Yeah. If you're gonna drink in Asia, you can go to any other country. Within 1 hour from Singapore, you could be in Malaysia drinking beers for $1. So if you love to party and drink, I highly recommend doing that in another country. If you want to be on a budget and stay on that budget, don't drink in Singapore. Otherwise, just go to a convenience store, pick up some drinks there. Getting around Singapore is actually incredibly affordable. For about $1.50, you could get to the airport, or if you take a Grab taxi, which is their version of Uber, you could get from the airport to the city center for around 10 to 15 bucks, depending on the time of day. I just used Grab taxi there just because it's way more convenient, especially if you have luggage. I didn't want to be lost and walking around with my luggage while trying to find my hotel or hostel. But I did use the public transportation. It's very clean and easy to understand. So if you want to save some money, definitely take public transportation. Also, if your mission is to save money, Singapore is a very clean city, and so is their tap water. You could drink the tap water in Singapore. Yeah, I know, there's a lot of countries where you can't drink the tap water or you get sick. Even in the United States, many states have dirty tap water. But in Singapore, it has clean tap water, so you'll save a lot of money from having to buy bottled water. Things to do in Singapore on a budget. Nothing. I didn't do any of that. That is another video that I'll either make or you can search it on YouTube. Personally, I just wanted to eat and stay in air-conditioned buildings. Just a relaxing, I just wanted to relax. In Singapore, the language is English. If you're an English speaker watching this video, like me, there's no problems communicating with any of the people or reading any of the signs. Some signs were completely in English. So, as an international trip, I think Singapore is one of the most unique and easiest places to go for English speakers. It's kind of like an amazing jump from America to Singapore, since you get the luxury of being able to communicate while still trying very different foods and experiencing a different culture. If you want a super budget stay and you don't mind staying at a hostel and eating local foods, getting around by public transportation, expect to spend $30 to $40 per day in a mildly comfortable experience. 3-star traveler. Expect to pay about $100 per night on hotels and maybe $50 per day in food and transportation. So you're expecting to pay about $150 per day. 5-star hero. You can spend whatever you want. Yeah, you're probably not watching this budget video, but if you are, for a 5-star hero, you can expect to pay $500 per night if you want to stay at the Marina Bay Sands, or any other 5-star hotel will cost you around $250 to $300 per night. And high-end meals, yeah, the sky's the limit. So if you're a 5-star hero, just put on the credit card. My videos are about 1-star backpackers living like a 5-star hero, except for food. Food is incredibly delicious. I really love the hawker stalls. I really like the food centers in Singapore because they're really well set up. It's also very clean. So you can just go to the hawker centers, buy food, and eat there. The difference between street food in Singapore is that they have seats. It's really amazing. In these food centers, they have tables for everyone, And just remember, you gotta bus your own tray back to the tray station when you're done. The hawker stalls are all like covered, so you have sun protection, and they have fans everywhere blowing to keep the air flowing. With the air flowing throughout the facility, that means there's no flies. So even though it's hot and there's just food sitting around, there's no flies that are gonna get your food, so it's set up really well. I was very impressed by that level of street food for the people. Basically, you are eating in a pretty comfortable place. It's covered, you have a place to sit down, you have eating utensils, you have a place to wash your hands, there's a bathroom. Each of the food centers has this, and it is a pretty good experience considering you get super delicious food at a super affordable price. So that's it for my video. If you enjoyed this, like, subscribe, comment, say, hey Dan, good job. That specifically. If you say that specifically, I know it's not a spam comment. Alright. That's Singapore. I've been twice, and I will be there thrice. Just cause the food's so good. Until next time, I'm Dan, and I will be sharing more about other countries and how much they cost with you.